Hello everybody, this is PotterBrony. Welcome to another blind reaction of Magpie Pony's Pinkie Tales. This time we have Saddle Arabian Nights, Shaladdin. Yeah, it's been a while since the last Pinkie Tales. Stuff happens, life happens, other stuff to react to, other stuff happening. But yeah, now back into it. So let's just get it started and see what they have in store for us this week. Or this time. This is almost an hour long, so strap in, folks. As always, the link in the description below. Be sure to support Magpie Pony over there. And let's see what they put together. And starting the video in 3, 2, 1, and go. Alright.
Tales. Saddle Arabian Nights, Shaladdin. Okay, Pound and Pumpkin. This time, for really reals, we're going to read a story about a
Now,
far
who's gonna play
land with
who?
lots and lots of sand. Are you ready? Once upon a time.
Yeah.
A long time ago, in the hot desert sands of Equestria, there was a kingdom called Saddle Arabia, home to adventure, exotic treasure, and family fun for all ages. This vast kingdom was a wonderful sight to behold. Our story
And no
begins
cultural
one dark
appropriation
and
at all.
fateful night, where a mysterious and magical
But that's
cave
Disney.
in the shape of a giant pony head arose from a great sand dune to greet the pony who desired
So
access to
Rarity
its
is
treasure
the cave?
caves.
Who
Got
in their
Sabra
right
as Jafar.
mind would wake me at this hour of the night?
Both biceps
The
as
giant
the
head said, blinking a few times before
Initial
focusing
guy
his
he
sights
tried.
on the pony standing
Initial
in front
thief.
of her. He was
Nice.
a large muscled Pegasus with abnormally small wings and a vacant look in his eyes.
Oh, this is promising. What is it you want?
The Pegasus's hooves shook in fright as he glanced over his shoulder to the mysterious stallion waiting behind him. The stallion
I wonder
narrowed
who
his
the
eyes
genie's gonna
and pointed
be.
his
I
hoof
think Discord is
expectantly in the
obvious
direction of the
choice.
giant pony head.
Let
Did they
me
make
guess,
that reference in the
darling.
previous
Want
one? If
access
I remember
to my
right, it's been
treasures
a
and
while.
Valuables? I am the cave of rarity, after all.
Yeah.
You don't call me a wonder for nothing. I'm right here,
Nice.
darling. There's no need to shout.
The Pegasus glanced over his shoulder one more time before timidly approaching the mouth of the cave.
Let's do this!
Yes, he
took a
sounds very
wary
timid.
step closer, and then another, his confidence building with each stride. Once he was inside, however, the cave of Rarity's mouth snapped shut. She puffed out her sandy cheeks and spat the stallion back into the air. He soared miles overhead, screaming as he did so, while the cave spun.
Hey, he
in
can
his
fly.
chest.
Oh, my! That was vile! Absolutely disgusting! He tasted like mussels and sweat! No pony had better bother me again until a proper gentle colt with a heart of gold dares enter my treasure trove. And handsome. He simply must be handsome. Cleanliness is important as well. Perhaps he likes long walks on the beach and staying inside cozy
What exactly
by
are
the
you looking
fire
for,
on
Rare?
rainy nights.
Cave of Rarity?
That we have much rain here in the desert.
The cave continued talking to herself as she slowly descended out of sight, leaving nothing but a giant sand dune and the mysterious stallion behind.
Huh. Well, that's something you don't see every day now, is it? A
Brayburn?
giant mystical talking cave with darn near impossible standards.
A loudmouth talking parrot perched on the back of the stallion said,
Then again, you don't see stallions like that every day either. I mean, is it even logical that all them muscles help that fool fly? You think that'd be counterproductive, what with the size of them wings?
Enough, Brago.
And why can
Clearly this wasn't the correct pony to accomplish our
Brago,
task.
Good luck finding someone better. Or
which
dumber.
raises the question of
My
Scootaloo.
magic will point us in the direction of this pony with a heart of gold. Victory is close at hoof, my friend.
and with that, The stallion ignited his horn with magic, and the pair disappeared into the night. The next
Good
day,
choice for Jafar.
life continued as normal for the ponies of Saddle Arabia. Deep in the heart of the city,
Hey, I
the
see Magpie.
marketplace was alive and busy as ever.
Trixie
By
and
mid-morning, the ponies had set up their stalls to sell their
Is
wares.
Shiny
and
Armor
had
Aladdin?
attracted a sizable crowd.
So I'd
This
assume
accounted
Cadence
for the royal guard
is
presence, as it was not uncommon for thieves to covet the many
Jasmine.
tempting exotic trinkets and oddities. One such thief was a young stallion called Shaladdin. Having been brought up on the streets with only his agility and
Shaladdin.
street smarts, Shaladdin spent his days dodging palace guards and stealing the meals he needed
How
to
is that a
survive.
horse pawn? I'm
Wait.
trying to think.
You mean there are ponies in Saddle Arabia who have to steal just to live? What kind of crazy backwards place is this? Why can't they just eat the grass?
There is no
Well,
grass,
grass.
Pinkie.
Yeah.
This is a desert.
What does a dessert have to do with anything? I mean, I know I could live off of cupcakes
Oh,
and pies,
Pinkie.
but
Desert, Pinkie, not dessert.
yeah, I heard you. A dessert. That's a really cute accent, you know.
I'm referring to a large, dry, barren region, usually having sandy or rocky soil and little or no vegetation.
I don't know what desserts taste like where you come from, but that
But that
doesn't
sounds
sound
awful.
appetizing at all. You
Yeah.
haven't lived until you've tried the cake's award-winning marzipan mascarpone meringue madness. Oh, wait here. I'll go get you some right now.
No, Pinkie, I don't need...
Too late.
Shaladdin wouldn't have escaped pursuit all these years if it weren't for his very best friend Apul, the monkey. Of the pair of them, Shaladdin had great strength, but it was Apul who
Apul?
was gifted with the
Like
brains.
Apple?
Together, they were an
Is
unstoppable
that supposed to be
pair.
Applejack?
All right, Apul. Another day, another dinar.
Shaladdin said, scanning the marketplace stalls for something delicious to steal.
Do Saddle Arabian ponies use dinars? I thought we were trying not to misrepresent the culture with this here story. Besides, when have we ever ended the day with any money at all?
It's just an expression. Lighten up, will ya? I'm
Yep,
starving.
it's Applejack.
And I've got my eye on that stall of fruit over there. Just look at all those choices, Apul. Oranges, mangoes, watermelons, cherries, grapes.
Pineapples.
Pineapples.
Yeah.
Wait, can our climate really grow all that? We're in a desert, not on a tropical island.
Oh, look! They have your favorite.
Don't say it.
Bananas.
Oh, bananas. Right, 'cause I'm a monkey. Sorry, I thought you were gonna say something else.
Oh, wait, never mind. Looks like they're fresh out of bananas. Maybe we can get you a nice shiny red apple instead.
And there it is.
Yep.
I can't ever escape apples, can I?
Apul carefully
you may
made
not.
her way towards
Cannot.
their soon-to-be
will
breakfast,
not.
muttering sarcastically under her breath.
They're making the element of honesty a thief in this story. That can't possibly go wrong.
She was moments away from reaching a particularly delicious-looking orange when she quickly ducked under the stool instead. A strange hooded mare had approached the assorted fruits, forcing Apul to remain
Alright,
out
so
of
you
sight.
got Rainbow as a...
Would the pretty mare like a nice, juicy
Vendor.
apple to start the day?
And yeah, it's Cadence.
Sure. I would love one.
The mare said, levitating the apple from the fruit merchant and taking a bite.
That'll be 2 bits.
Oh, so we're back to bits now?
Apul asked,
Yeah, why
still
not?
concealed from view. Shaladdin was not too far away, watching the exchange curiously. He seemed rather fixated on the mysterious shopper who might have cost him his breakfast.
I wonder why.
Right. I have money. If you would just let me go back to the palace, I can...
You can't pay, you say? So you're a thief then?
That's not what she
Do you
said.
know what happens to thieves like you?
No, I can pay. I just don't have anything on me right now.
Guards! Thief!
The mare's eyes darted around the marketplace in fear. Thinking fast, Apul climbed up the fruit stand and jumped onto the merchant's head, pulling her oversized turban over her eyes before reclaiming her spot on Shaladdin's back. Shaladdin quickly knocked over a basket of mangoes, causing the fruit to scatter between the merchant and the mare. When the merchant attempted to pursue her, she tripped over her own produce instead.
Yep.
Quick, this way!
Cartoons.
Shaladdin said, leading the mare away from the ruckus.
You didn't have to do that.
The mare said, out of breath as she tried to keep up.
Don't worry about it. It's about time I got myself into trouble today anyway.
Yeah.
I'm Shaladdin.
It was going
This
too
little buddy of
too
mine
long
here is
without
Apul.
I'm...
The mayor started,
Without
but
causing
was
mischief.
cut off when the crowds parted and a line of palace guards were waiting for them. The guard in charge stepped forward with a smug grin on her face. Her rainbow
the
mane
guard,
was
too.
only just visible under the helmet she wore.
Wait, what? But I thought Rainbow was the merchant back there.
Halt!
Thanks for pointing that out.
Finally done it this time, street rats. You're not getting away so easy.
The guard fanned out her wings and readied herself to take off in pursuit.
Who said this was easy?
Shaladdin asked, turning his attention to a large cart of barrels nearby. He bounded to the side, kicked off the wall of the
just because
building,
it's
and
fun,
bucked
it
his
doesn't mean
hind
it's
legs
easy.
into the side
Obviously,
of the
it's fun.
cart, sending the barrels toppling over the unsuspecting guards. Not wasting any time, Shaladdin motioned for the mayor to follow him down an alleyway.
See that old abandoned building? Wait there till I've given these guys the slip.
Oh, I was looking at it.
This isn't the
The,
worst challenge I've faced.
Shaladdin said with a grin, igniting
The
his
sheer
magic and
cloth
teleporting
around
the mayor
her,
across the street and out of harm's way.
Around her
We
legs.
still have magic? Why in the hell are we putting
I thought that
ourselves
was
in danger
magic.
every day just for a darn piece of fruit when you can make
That
one
was just
appear?
the veil stuff.
Aw, but where's the fun in that?
Cloth.
There he
Under the outfit.
is.
One of the guards called out. Apul recognized the sound of the guard's voice and turned to see a familiar deep crimson coat and light orange mane.
Let's get a move on. This one's not gonna be easy to outmuscle.
The pair of
Yeah,
friends didn't
yeah, that
hesitate.
right.
They ran along the alleyway which led back into the heart of the marketplace. Unfortunately, there were too many ponies around to make a clean getaway. Rather
Love
than stick
seeing,
to the streets, Shaladdin decided to take to the rooftops. With the
Vinyl
pool on
and
his back,
Octi.
he pushed off hard from the ground and leapt onto a nearby awning,
Daring
which
do back
propelled
there.
him up onto the roof.
No,
Yeah,
not on
change
the
that.
roof. Rainbow will spot you in a...
Halt!
Yep, saw that coming.
Shaladdin only had
can't
moments
go
to
up
react
top.
before he was sure to be caught. Taking a sharp turn, he jumped back down between a pair of buildings, narrowly missing the clothing line between them as he fell. The guard, however, was not as fortunate. She flew straight into a rug, and before she could get herself free, the clothing line snapped her backwards into the sky again.
Cartoon
Shaladdin
physics.
laughed, and moments before touching the ground, he ignited his horn and teleported himself away. Moments
'Cause
later,
why not?
he reappeared back inside the abandoned building he had mentioned, panting and smiling.
And I just teleport from the beginning, but
Piece
whatever.
of cake.
Apul jumped down from his shoulder and looked around curiously.
Where's the mayor?
Shaladdin looked around nervously for her before racing down the steps of the building and back out into the open. Unfortunately, waiting at the bottom were the palace guards, who quickly seized him while he was distracted. The mayor in question was struggling a few feet away. Shaladdin
I like
growled
the
and
cup
attempted
they
to
put
use his
around the horn.
magic, but the strange device they'd locked on his horn
Yeah.
prevented it.
By order of the Sultan, you are under arrest.
Let him go.
And why would I do a foolish thing like that?
Because I order you to.
The mayor said, pulling away her disguise. The guards around her gasped and immediately fell to the
I like her
dirt
hair
road
like
in a
that.
bow. Shaladdin quickly came to the realization that she was none other than the princess of Saddle Arabia. He'd never seen Princess Jadance before, but the moment he did,
Princess Jadance.
something in his heart skipped a beat. She was beautiful, and he couldn't look away from her kind lavender eyes.
I'm sorry, Princess, but the law is the law, and with all due respect, we are to follow it as instructed by your father. We've been after this thief for some time now. His crimes are too numerous to be ignored. You will have to consult
And with
your
those
father on his
Pointy
decided
hooves
punishment.
that tapered
Fine.
down.
I learn that
You
you
think-
mistreat him. I will report you to the Sultan myself.
Slipping those
The
cuffs
princess
off that and the
declared.
horn off
She
wouldn't be
gave
difficult.
Shaladdin a sympathetic smile
Unless it, like,
and took
digs
off
in.
in flight for the palace. Shortly after, Shaladdin was...
I'm back! Here, try some of this.
What?
That was delicious.
All over everything, even the story.
It was an accident. Here, let me just...
No, stay back. You've done enough.
But I just want to help.
Go to the bad Pinkie corner now and take the rest of
Oh,
this
not the
cake
bad
with
Pinkie
you.
corner.
I'm being punished with dessert? I'm oddly okay with this.
Father? Father? Princess Jadance called, pushing open the
Interesting
throne
choice.
room door to find the Sultan pacing in front of his
Thought
throne.
it might have been
Daughter, where have you been?
Celestia.
I was worried sick about you.
Sultan Sparkle said, pulling his daughter into a hug.
Father, I need to speak to you at once about a stallion taken prisoner
then,
in the
yeah.
marketplace.
You
The Sultan
were in
was
the
shorter.
marketplace? What were you doing outside the palace walls?
Surely the princess has good reason for abandoning her father.
A dark and sinister-looking pony said, emerging from the side of the throne where previously he had been standing motionless. He was the Sultan's most trusted advisor. Although he smiled, it was a twisted and unnerving smile, which matched the off-putting tone of his voice.
I didn't abandon any pony. I merely wished to experience something outside of the Stonewall prison.
But you could have been hurt.
I was getting along fine.
That's a nice way to refer to home.
That is not what I heard, Your Majesty. My sources have told me that the princess ran into some trouble during her little act of rebellion. She was found with a dangerous criminal in the marketplace before his capture.
Just a common
He wasn't
thief.
dangerous. If
Yeah.
anything, he saved me from a rude and overbearing street merchant. That's why I'm here, Father, to plead on his behalf. Oh, he might be a thief, but he is no hardened criminal. Even I can tell he has a heart of gold.
Sombra's eyes widened at the mention of a heart of gold.
Heart of gold.
He looked away from the Sultan to the door leading to the dungeon.
I don't want any harm coming to him, Father. Please, for his act of bravery, can you not pardon his crimes?
That would be quite impossible, Your Highness. No thief can be redeemed by one mere act of kindness. The Sultan would be wise to keep the youth in the dungeon where he can do no more harm.
I'm afraid he's right, my dear. My hooves are tied on this matter. The law states that a pony must
That's
pay
a
for
shame.
his crimes, no matter his intention.
Well, we all know how the
Prisoner
story
will remain
goes.
in the dungeon.
Jadence's eyes watered, and she stormed from the throne room. Sultan Sparkle heaved a heavy sigh before following after her.
Worry not, my liege. You made the correct decision.
Sombra
I think I
called out
slept
to him,
wrong.
waiting until he had left the throne room before erasing the phony smile from his face.
Drago, wake up at once!
Sombra snapped, turning his attention to the parrot still asleep on the perch beside the throne.
I never liked Bluebird.
Come, I think we have a little business to conduct in the dungeon.
Deep in the confines of the dungeon, Shaladdin found himself chained uncomfortably to the wall. His only means of light came from a
Yeah, it's
small
gotta
window
suck.
above his head. Luckily for him, a pool was just the right size to squeeze through the window's bars and come to his aid.
How's it coming, little buddy?
Shaladin
Oh,
asked,
yeah, you
while
can
a pool
teleport out
struggled
if
to
he
free
gets
her
that thing
friend.
off, but that's
Well,
not gonna happen.
seeing as how I'm a monkey and have no idea how to work these, hand things, not good.
Upal said, fidgeting with the lock clumsily.
Maybe you could try to get this thing off my horn first?
Upal examined the strange device locked on Shaladin's horn. She reached out to touch it and was met with a surprising surge of electrical current.
A pool!
That's
Are you all right?
a useful way to prevent people from touching it to pull it off.
I absolutely refuse to say this next line.
What next line?
Nope, I'm not gonna do it.
What's the line?
Uh,
The story can't continue
Are
if you
you
don't say
kidding
it.
me? We can't advance in the story unless I say it.
Do
God
it.
darn it, Pinkie Pie, this is the most ridiculous. Fine. Well, that was shocking. And the worst stuff I ever had to mutter.
Perhaps I may be of more assistance to you, my young lad.
Boy, you don't look ominous or threatening at all.
Oh, just
suspicious,
a lonely
suspicious, that's the word I
prisoner
was-
like yourself.
The stallion said, levitating a strange-looking key to the device around Shaladin's horn.
If you're
freeing
a
it
prisoner, why do
instantly.
you have a key?
Shaladin then used his own magic to pry open the chain around his neck.
thanks.
You know, you're quite spry for a young stallion. I heard the royal
You'd think
guard
young stallions would be
discussing your
spry.
history
How
of
is-
dodging your
whatever.
arrest.
Yeah, well, it only takes one mistake to end up here, so none of that really matters, does it?
Ah, but you're wrong, my friend. Some pony with skills like yours could be of great use to me.
What exactly do you want?
There is a great treasure that awaits the pair of us, if you are willing to take the risk. Only I know its whereabouts. But alas, my magic is too weak, and my bones too brittle to retrieve it on my own. Think of it, lad. Riches beyond your wildest dreams. Riches enough to buy a pardon for your crimes, and court the mare
You could
that you
buy
seek.
a pardon?
What will I have to do?
Why don't you come with me and find out?
The old stallion said, igniting his magic to reveal a secret passage hidden in one of the dungeon walls.
Really? That's how easy it is to get out of here? No wonder there's so much crime in Saddle Arabia.
Apul muttered, as Shaladdin followed the stallion out of his
Fair
cell.
point. Apul.
It was just after twilight when the pair of ponies had reached the opening of the
Twilight.
Cave of Rarity.
Twilight was there?
No, Pinkie. Twilight as in time of day. Wait. What are you doing out of your corner?
I came to see if it's the genie thing yet.
You do realize that you spoiled part of the plot, right? He'll be in the story soon enough.
Me? What do you mean?
You're
Oh, it's gonna be
playing
her?
part of the genie, aren't you?
Just because I can break the fourth wall and make lots of funny jokes, you just assume that I
Makes
casted
sense.
myself as the genie, huh? That's called character profiling. I expected better from you.
Well, if you let me continue the story, maybe we'll find out who is playing the genie.
Proceed.
Who disturbs my beauty sleep?
Alright,
at a much
so it's
more
either her or
reasonable
Discord.
Hour?
It's probably gonna be her
A
now, though.
giant pony head exclaimed, looking at the old stallion and his new comrade.
The cave head is Rarity? Really?
Me. My name
Well,
is
why not?
Shaladdin, and I have come seeking entrance to your vast treasure.
I know, darling. Ponies don't usually seek out mystical caves just to have a nice chat. Although that would be nice.
Yeah, so lonely out here.
You are a much better choice than the last stallion who attempted to enter my cave.
What do you mean, attempted?
Oh? What is this? Is that a country-speaking monkey? Am I really expected to allow a monkey into my treasure trove?
This monkey is my best friend, and if she doesn't go, I don't go.
Aww, how sweet.
Yeah.
You two must be the best of friends. All right, I've heard enough. Clearly, young stallion, you have a heart of gold. After all, it must be quite challenging to care for a smelly and hairy little creature like that and call it a friend.
Hey!
Yeah.
You may come
that's
in,
mean.
darling, but I warn you, touch only the instrument of destiny or be prepared to face drastic consequences.
The Cave of Rarity opened her mouth to allow Shaladdin passage. As he approached, the old stallion called out to him.
Bring me the instrument of destiny, and the rest of the treasure is yours.
Shaladdin nodded and began the descent into the cave.
Wait, how is that a fair deal? We were just warned moments ago not to touch anything else, and this old stallion here wants the one thing we can? How is this not alarming to you?
Yeah.
You worry too much, Apul.
That makes too much
It'll be
sense.
fine.
Once Shaladdin and
It'll be
Apul had
fine.
reached the bottom of the cave, their eyes widened in wonder at the sight of the vast treasure within. The difficulty of the situation was just now sinking in, as the pair both wondered in silence how it would be possible to find an instrument of destiny in these mountains of gold and jewels. It certainly didn't help that they
a nice
weren't
treasure.
allowed to touch anything.
Watch out!
Apul shouted, moments before Shaladdin accidentally stepped hoof on a strange-looking carpet laying atop the sand.
What? What's wrong?
You just touched that carpet thing. I thought we weren't allowed to do
Is
that
that
down here.
Fluttershy?
Maybe this is the instrument of destiny?
Oh, well, I'm not exactly an instrument. I'm more of a doormat.
The carpet said.
Wow.
Shaladdin backed away from the carpet in surprise, falling onto the ground and nearly squashing his simian friend.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to scare you. Are you all right?
Scare me? No, you just surprised me is all.
Love that it's a
I've never
welcome
seen
mat.
a talking carpet before. My name's Shaladdin. What's yours?
I'm
Or she's...
doormat.
Really? 'Cause you look like a carpet to me.
No,
Yeah.
I mean my name is doormat. Oh, wait. Who said
Wow.
that?
Oh, that's my friend, Apul.
Shaladdin said, turning to the side for
So
Doormat
cute.
to see the monkey on his back.
A monkey? Oh, how adorable.
Yep.
Oh, and she even has a little fence. Aww.
Would you like to come with us? We're looking for the
And
instrument
a
of
vest.
destiny.
Don't forget the
I'd
vest.
love to. I think I know where that is. But you can't
get there on hoof?
Well, obviously you can fly us there, right?
Yes. I guess I could, but I'm rather afraid of heights.
A pool face-palmed from Shaladdin's back.
How about you get us as close as you can, and we'll figure it out from there?
I can do that.
Doormat said, allowing Shaladdin to settle on top of her. She levitated herself off the ground slowly and flew off in the direction of their prize. After a long cautionary flight, mere inches off the ground, they arrived in a separate section of the cave where large stone steps led to a glowing pedestal above.
Well, this is it.
Wait, if we're underground and it's dark outside, how is that pedestal lit up?
Come on, Apul. Let's just get this instrument of
magic.
destiny and get out of here.
Shaladdin said, ascending the stone steps with a pool on his back.
What could go
Once
wrong?
they reached the top, Shaladdin paused in surprise.
The instrument of destiny is a tuba.
Of course it's a tuba.
With,
Before Shaladdin could say another word, the tuba began to shake and move on its own.
Yeah, it's
From
Pinkie.
somewhere within, a pink cloud of smoke burst forth, carrying with it a magical genie.
Ta-da!
So, you are the genie after all.
Duh. I'm like the perfect pony for this role. Except maybe Discord, but he's still in trouble.
And you gave me all that grief for
Must have been
nothing.
from the last one.
Well, I never said I wasn't gonna play the part.
Ugh, no wonder all those other narrators quit.
Did some pony summon a genie by blowing into the instrument of destiny?
No.
No?
Oh. Oops. My bad.
Premature.
Just wait until you do that then.
The genie said, disappearing back inside the tuba. Shaladdin looked at Apul, and then back at the tuba, before pressing his lips to the mouthpiece and giving a mighty blow.
Shaladdin, I'm so happy you've released me from my musical prison at last.
How do you know my name?
Magical
It's a genie.
intuition, of course.
Naturally.
It has nothing to do with the walls or the number 4. Anywho, though, you're
Yeah.
probably wondering who I am.
You're a genie?
How did you know? Was
There's
it the
nothing to do with the
narrator?
walls.
She spoiled it
Number
for you?
4.
Don't blame me.
You just said it yourself a couple seconds ago.
Oh.
Yeah, I forgot all about
Here
that.
I am, the genie of the instrument of destiny, otherwise known as a tuba. It's a pun, you see, but that's not the best part. I'm a wish-granting genie, and you get 3 wishes. Wait, what is that?
The genie asked. She disappeared momentarily, only to reappear again next to a pile
Wait,
of
so is
treasure
it
that
Pinkie
included a
touching the
large,
treasure
sparkling
that triggers
sapphire.
everything?
Shiny.
The genie said, reaching out a hoof.
Wait, don't!
Apul cautioned, but she was a
Yeah, I
second
didn't
too
think
late.
Applejack
The
would be
genie
the one
picked
to
up the
touch
sapphire
something.
and admired it in the torchlight.
How dare you! My one
Yeah, but does it count if
not to touch
one of the
my
treasures touches
treasure.
another? It wasn't one of them that touched it.
Shiny, and I couldn't help myself. Oh my, look, the entrance to the cave.
I like that, the words change.
Run!
Shaladdin called, using his magic to carry the tuba as he did so. Apul reached out and clung onto Doormat, who fluttered aimlessly as they ran.
Fluttered. I love puns.
Unfortunately,
Yep.
by the time they had reached the base of the stone steps, the Cave of Rarity had already closed her mouth and descended back into the sand. Looking around them, Shaladdin realized the caverns of vast treasure had all disappeared, leaving nothing but long, empty chasms. He and his friends were stranded hundreds of feet below the surface.
Well, that's just great. How in the hay are we supposed
You know,
to get
this
out?
reminds me of,
I know. Doormat can fly us out.
I'd really rather not fly that high.
the words on
Yeah, I
Doormat,
forgot you had a
Fluttershy.
problem. I knew I should have made you the tiger.
What?
Might not have heard of it. I'll
Well, I
Put a
do
link in
have
the
3
description.
wishes. Maybe I can just wish us out.
Or, use your unicorn magic, which is always conveniently
There's
forgotten.
this
Oh.
artist on DeviantArt who does,
Shaladdin said with a smile. He ignited his horn, and in a flash of light,
Yeah, no need to waste a wish there.
appeared on the outskirts of Saddle
He
Arabia.
does fan art of various things,
I'm the genie.
mainly
I'm the one who's
Naruto.
supposed to have magical epic powers and save the day. You just light your horn and poof.
He does this thing where it's like little
Point of having a genie.
cute comics of Naruto and Hinata.
Talking doormat that can fly but doesn't want to. And what
I'll
happened
talk
to
about
my
it afterwards.
song? I'm supposed to get a song. Now be
It's in the contract. Have to have a song.
so that you can wear the princess.
Shaladin, Apul, and Doormat stared at the genie unblinking, unsure what to say.
Wish it.
Okay. I wish I was a prince.
Okie dokie wokey.
The genie exclaimed with glee. She waved her hooves dramatically and conjured
Still,
a great
she looks so
cloud of
gleeful
pink
now.
smoke. When it cleared, Shaladin could see his appearance was drastically altered to reflect that of Saddle Arabian royalty. Although he wasn't a fan of the pink-centric color scheme, Shaladin beamed. from
Oh, you gotta
ear
take
to
what you
ear.
get.
What in the hay did you do to me?
Shaladin turned around to see his simian companion was no
Really?
longer a monkey. Instead, she had a purple scaly body with a stubby pointed tail and green spikes that spanned from the top of her head to the base of her tail.
You turned me into Spike?
Shaladdin's a prince now. He needs something cooler than a monkey for a pet, don't you think?
I don't know, a monkey would be a
Prince
pretty
lives in
cool
a
pet for a
dragon.
prince.
I think you're adorable.
Maybe
But,
next
yeah,
time
having a dragon
you
would be
won't
cooler.
suggest some pony use magic
If
to
they-
upstage the only magical pony in this story. Besides the bad guy.
Is that what this is about? I'm just pointing out the obvious because some pony tells her stories with these giant plot holes that don't make a lick of sense. You only cost yourself as a genie so you could steal the show, didn't you?
You following any of this?
Free reign over all the details, even though it don't make a lick of sense.
There's the
Ginny,
answer. No.
Come here.
What?
You're dragging this out longer than it needs to be. We need to move on.
But narrator.
And you're turning Apul back into a monkey.
Aw, do I have to?
Genie.
Fine.
Sombrar,
The princess called,
Sombra.
storming down the palace corridor towards her.
Alright.
I
Was
just
waiting, when
spoke
are
to
they
the
gonna
royal
name him?
guard, and they informed me that you personally escorted the prisoner from his cell. What have you done with him?
Your Highness,
he was in
it is my
disguise.
duty to uphold the peace in Saddle Arabia. I merely carried out the stallion's sentence.
Sentence?
Yes, you see, the stallion was...
Swallowed by a giant pony head in the middle of nowhere.
What?
He just... Princess.
What? You were there. You saw him get eaten.
Shut
Fuego
up.
started, but was swiftly cut off when Sombrara's magic snapped the parrot's mouth shut.
I'm afraid I must inform you that the stallion was... banished to the desert. I don't
Ugh,
make the
not
rules,
even executed.
Princess.
Banished.
I merely enforce them. We can't go changing our bylaws because the princess felt bad for the street urchin.
But the scorching sands of the desert stretch on for miles. It's a death sentence.
A tragic yet necessary
Unless he turns around
part
and
of
comes
Saudi
back.
Arabia's prosperity.
How-
Besides, you have far more things to worry your pretty little head about, Like your lineage.
He's right, my daughter.
The Sultan said, entering the throne room with his escort of palace guards. His ears were matted against his head.
I have promised the ponies a decision will be made before tomorrow at sunset.
But father, every stallion asking for my hoof were all egotistical brutes only after the throne. How could you expect me to choose one of them to wed?
With all due respect, Princess, we cannot simply wait around for some pony to burst into the palace and declare they have found your true
And...
love.
Now that's just asking
Cute.
to be jinxed.
Yep.
The palace doors burst open, and a strange pink pony pushed a large cannon into view, aimed directly at the Saddle Arabian throne.
Told you.
Your Royal Majesties and creepy
Good
advisors
call,
and annoying talking
Brainburn, forget your name.
May I present to you Princess Jadence's true love?
The pink pony said, igniting the cannon, which promptly exploded into an array of balloons, confetti, streamers, and a regal stallion standing atop a magic flying doormat. The stallion soared across the room, his doormat screaming the entire way.
My oh my, who is this?
The Sultan exclaimed, taken in by the flashy entrance.
Oh hey, it's that Shaladdin kid. He must have found the genie and gotten out.
Hush! I must learn who this charlatan is.
Are you kidding me? You don't see the resemblance? It's Shaladdin! Look, I can see that monkey's tail coming out from under his turban.
Give it up, cousin. They'll never listen.
Your Majesty, my name is Prince Shining Armor, and I have come to request the hoof of your lovely Princess Jadens.
You certainly know how to make an appearance, young prince. Come, meet my daughter, the rarest and most beautiful flower in all of Saddle Arabia.
Shaladdin bowed before Jadens and kept his eyes locked on hers. She looked so different from the runaway he had met on the street, but her striking eyes remained as hypnotizing as he remembered. Shaladdin was frozen in place, unable to summon the right words to greet her, in fear of her rejection.
Princess, you are indeed quite lovely. I wish I knew what to say.
Having unwittingly used his second wish, Genie poofed to a tiny floating version of herself and told him the next line to say.
I have traveled a great distance and faced many obstacles to ask you this one question. Will you marry me?
If you think I can be won over by an exuberant entrance like that, then you are a fool. Unlike my father, I am far from impressed, Prince Shining Armor, and I refuse to remain in the company of those who would trade my marriage like wares in a marketplace.
Princess Jadens exclaimed, taking off in flight back to her chambers in a huff.
Well, there goes one of the only good cannon ships.
Hours later, in the courtyard below Princess Jadens' balcony, Shaladdin was pacing back and forth. He was worried that he'd ruined his first impression with the princess, and ultimately, her approval.
Genie, what am I going to do? She'll never give me a chance now.
Show her the world.
Aw, cheer up, Shaladdin. There's way too much fan art and merchandise of you two for this not to work.
Genie said, mindlessly blowing balloon animals that would then come to life.
I don't think she was too keen on
You
the
should have
meet and
used a lot
engage
blowing
thing you had
up
going on
balloon
there.
animals.
Excuse me, little Miss Sour Apple.
Sorry, mine went into the gutter.
All the best fairy tale princes get the girl that way. Just ask Prince Dash or Prince Charming. They meet, they kiss, they marry. Ooh, you just forgot to kiss her. No wonder it didn't work.
Yeah,
Maybe
because
if I go up there, just explain how I feel. She might not hate me.
Got you covered.
Genie said,
that'll
magicking
probably
a giant heart-shaped hot air balloon with a picture of Shaladdin and Jadens kissing plastered on its side.
I don't think I'll be needing your help for this one, Genie. Not that your magic isn't great. It's just that, Doormat here said she really wants to help me out.
I do?
Of course you do.
You do.
After all, every pony has to conquer their fears eventually, right? All you have to do is fly me up to the balcony. I'll do the rest.
Oh, okay. I'll do it.
Aw, really? But look, it even says shipment's approved.
I'll tell you what, Genie. I'll use Doormat's
And
help
it is
this
approved,
time.
yes.
And then when the princess is in love with me, I'll use my last wish to set you free.
What?
Really? Does that mean I can go anywhere and use my magic for anything I want?
Does that sound like a good
Well,
idea?
let's think about that a little bit, Shaladdin. I'm not sure the world can handle Genie's, unique style of magic.
Nah, I'm sure it'll be fine.
Everything
Shaladdin
will work
said,
out.
standing atop Doormat and guiding her flight to the balcony above. Princess Jadens had shut herself in her chamber
And
since
you're
the display in the
playing,
throne room. Her
the
faithful
tiger,
pet, Ranger
too.
the tiger, was close at hoof, wishing
Crap,
there
what
was
was that
something
tiger's
that could
name?
cheer up her princess.
Ugh, they're expecting a decision tomorrow, Ranger. This is why I tried to leave in the first place. Oh, I can't marry one of those brutes and allow my father's throne to be misused for personal gain.
Ranger suddenly leapt to her paws and growled lowly in the direction of the balcony.
What is it? Who's there?
Jadens wondered aloud.
And you have
She
cat-like
crossed the
creatures.
room and
Maybe
opened the doors leading outside,
Opal
with
could have
Ranger
been
following close behind.
a large version of
Standing
the tiger.
alone on the balcony was Prince Shining Armor with an apologetic grin
Why is
on
it
his
3
face.
times so far,
Hello
Rambo,
again,
playing
Princess.
various characters?
Please forgive my intrusion. I just...
Shaladdin was cut off when Ranger pounced, claws swiping at the intruder.
Ranger, no. Let me handle this.
Ranger? As in Rainbow? She's the tiger, too?
We ran out of the budget. Do you know how much it costs to turn you into a monkey? Or Rarity into a giant talking head?
Wait! Princess, please, let me explain. I'm very sorry I gave you the wrong first impression earlier. I was so nervous to talk to you that I stumbled on my words.
That didn't seem like a stumble to me. It seemed like a proposal.
Believe me, Princess, even I don't know what I was thinking. I only wanted to say the right thing, and it got a little out of hoof. Please, give me another chance.
Though she wanted to turn the stallion away, there was something strangely familiar about this prince. She nodded her head curtly, much to Ranger's dismay.
Aww, she's so beautiful.
What is that?
Oh, this is Doormat. She's a magical flying and talking carpet who just so happens to enjoy animals and hate heights.
A magical what?
Here, let me show you.
Yay!
You want me to stand on a magical talking carpet and fly off this balcony? You're right. My first impression of you wasn't correct. You're not a selfish, egotistical brute. You're just insane.
Don't tell me you're afraid.
Afraid? Why would I be afraid?
And if you fall
wings.
off, you can fly.
I can fly
yeah.
perfectly well on my own.
This can't be the worst challenge you've faced.
At the mention of those words, Jadence was reminded of what the poor stallion in the marketplace had said. She gave the prince a closer look, seeing the resemblance in his coat and mane, and ventured to guess that this was indeed the Shaladdin she had feared was long gone.
All right, I'll go.
Shaladdin
Good
smiled
guess.
and helped her onto Doormat before the three of them flew from the balcony into the night sky. There's something magical about flying Doormat rides over a moonlit city. In the span of a few minutes, her mind and her heart was changed about Shaladdin, and she
Because
embraced
Disney
feelings of
movies.
oddly placed romance. Holding each other close, Shaladdin and Jadence sang the woes of the lives they had led and the bright future they
But
could
not right
foresee
now,
together.
right?
As their love blossomed, Shaladdin debated whether or not to tell Jadence the truth about who he really was, but fearing he may lose her, he decided instead to
Shoulda
hold
done
his
it.
tongue. After their magical flight around the city, Doormat returned the happy couple to the princess's balcony, grateful to be on solid ground again. Before it was time to leave, Shaladdin pulled the princess into an embrace.
Here I was dreading the decision I was forced to make, and now I find myself rejoicing in it. I must find my father right away.
Jadence said, taking off from the balcony in flight with the brightest smile on her face. Moments later, Genie and Apul joined Shaladdin on the balcony.
You did it! Aw, look
Well
at
done.
you. I bet your heart is all a flurry. Get it?
Yeah.
Very funny.
She's the pony of my dreams, Genie, and I could never have done this without you.
I have so many plans for my magic now that I'm gonna be free. I can throw the biggest party in pony history and invite everyone. Well, I don't know about the narrators. They don't really seem like the party type. Maybe I can just make things canon. Ooh, like Princess Big Mac. Wouldn't he make the most amazing princess ever?
Genie,
Yep. Yeah, you would.
What is it?
I'm not so sure I can keep up this charade on my own. Jadence still thinks I'm a prince, and the only thing I have to my name is a fancy title and some nice clothes. If I can't convince the princess that I am royalty, I don't have a chance.
What are you saying?
I'm saying I might need to hang on to my third wish. For now.
But you... and I thought...
Yeah, that was painful in
Well,
the movie too.
Even I think that's cold.
Yeah.
Apul said, Doormat agreeing with a soft nod.
Oh, come on, guys. You can't blame me for being worried. I don't want to lose her.
Fine. If you need me, Master, I'll be inside the tuba. And if it sounds like I'm crying, I'm not. I'm just fine-tuning the instrument. So there! I knew I should have made you make me a pinky promise, even though you have no idea what a pinky is.
The genie said, disappearing back into the tuba in a huff.
Looks like you're out of luck, Prince Shining Armor. Or should I say, Shaladdin?
A dark voice said somewhere behind Shaladdin. In a flash of light, Shaladdin was transported to the throne room of the palace. His fine robes had become rags again, and his friends
Nice
Doormat
use
and
of the,
Apul were being restrained
notice
by
on
the
his horn, the,
Arabian guard.
Stop
crystal
squirming, you
stuff.
little pest.
The rainbow-maned guard said, trying to hold Ranger still.
Roar!
Wait, What?
Brago chimed in, looking from the guard to
Don't
the tiger
question
and
it.
back.
None of this makes a lick of sense anymore.
Don't even get me started.
In the confusion, Shaladdin's tuba was pried from his hooves, and he was detained by the remaining castle guard. Sombra held the tuba up in the moonlight with his magic, and gave a mighty cackle of joy.
At last, the instrument of destiny is mine. You bring me the Sultan and the princess, and you detain the boy. The last thing I need is for some pony to decide to be stupid and heroic.
The Saddle Arabian
can't have
guard
that.
didn't hesitate and carried out Sombara's wishes. As they did so, Sombara blew into the tuba mouthpiece, summoning the genie. A great flash of light and smoke appeared from within. But rather than the genie, a large sign hovered in the air in her place.
What does it say?
We're sorry. The genie you are trying to reach is unavailable at this time due to Shaladdin being a big fat meanie. If you are here to apologize, blow the tuba once. If you are evil and trying to take over the world, blow in the tuba twice. Thank you.
Nothing.
Oddly specific.
Genie, I am Sombra, your new master, and I demand you appear before me to grant me my wishes.
Does that mean you wish to see me out there?
Yes. Wait, no, that's not what I...
Too late. That's one wish
Nice
down,
trick.
2 remaining. Who said you have to be a witty young stallion hero to outsmart the big bad? Wait, what did you say your name was? Sombrero? Like the hat?
Enough! I am the master here, and you will do as I say.
The palace guards returned with the Sultan and the
I never
princess,
understood that.
both of whom protested angrily,
How,
but were unable to sway the guards' objectives.
I was able to
There's
use the
no
genie
use,
if
Your Majesty.
Aladdin still
These
was
stallions
technically the
answer
master.
Only to me now. All it took was a simple brainwashing curse, and their feeble little minds were mine to control.
No! Sombra, you traitor!
Yeah, isn't it weird that the bad guy already has magic to do stuff like that, and yet still thinks he needs a genie to take over?
Genie, for my first wish,
Second.
It's a
Second
poison
wish.
joke.
I wish to be the Sultan of all of Saddle Arabia.
Okay.
Sombra and all the ponies in the room waited in anticipation of a large display of magic that never came.
Well?
It's done. What, do you want a parade and a lavish musical number? Because we didn't
Would be
have time to
nice.
do that for the good guy. What makes you think you're gonna get it?
You won't get away with this, Sombrar. I refuse to obey a sultan like you.
Shaladdin shouted, struggling against the guards that held him.
Little Shaladdin, I had almost forgotten. Your charade ends at last, my naive little friend. Did you really believe I wouldn't recognize you when you came parading back to Saddle Arabia?
Well, yeah.
I did.
And what must the princess think of you now? Now that she knows you are nothing
She doesn't
more
care about
than
that.
a street rat plucked from the marketplace and conned into getting me the tool I need to take over her father's throne.
I already knew who he was.
Wait, what?
You don't think I could forget you this quickly, do you, Shaladdin? Once I saw you on my balcony, I recognized you. I knew you were only pretending to be a prince to bypass the law of my father.
Smart girl. Don't see many of those in the older Disney movies, do ya?
No, you don't.
Doesn't matter. There is only
You see it more and
one
more
way
often
to
now,
get
which
rid
is
of a
cool,
meddlesome
but-
fool like you, Shaladdin. Prepare to face the
It started to
most
change around
powerful
here. I mean,
ruler
she
in
kind of picked up
all
quickly.
of Saddle Arabia.
Jasmine did.
Sombra ignited his horn and stamped his hooves on the ground.
But prior to
causing it
that,
Every
in
pony,
the old
including the
days
guards,
of
lost their
Disney,
balance,
it's like,
giving Shaladdin the
the
opportunity to escape.
intelligence
He
of the
raced
princesses
towards the
are kind of
princess,
iffy.
only to be thrown in the opposite direction by a great scaly tail that appeared between them.
Nice.
Shaladdin, no!
Oh my.
Is he a giant alligator?
A giant baby alligator.
That's
There's
it.
a
I
difference,
quit.
yep.
You made the bad guy turn into Gummy?
Please, he's not gummy. He's got teeth. See? Really sharp ones, too.
Yeah.
Shaladdin's doomed. Popcorn?
Sombra snapped his teeth
Wow.
at Shaladdin, who narrowly missed them. He leapt away from Sombra's continued attacks, but knew eventually fatigue would spell his doom.
I don't know about you, but I'm betting on the alligator.
Brago said, joining Jeannie and snacking on the buttery treat she had conjured.
Sounds good.
Brago, you too?
The way I see it, cuz, if you can't beat 'em, join 'em. Ain't I supposed to be evil anyway?
Yeah, till the sequel when you get redeemed for no other reason other than they wanted to keep Gilbert Gottfried around.
Makes sense.
Give it up, Shaladdin. You have failed.
Does it, though? Keeping Gilbert Gottfried around, does that
Your
make
wits
sense?
and magic can never exceed my own.
Not true, Sombra.
And granted, I like his
You are
stuff,
forgetting
but
one
he
crucial
can be kind
thing.
of grating.
Genie has more power than you will ever have. Once I get my hooves on that tuba and wish for the powers of a genie, I will defeat you.
Don't just go shouting your plans, Shaladdin.
That is the plan.
You do have a point, but I'm afraid you shall never have that chance, you fool, for it is I who will use my final wish to become an all-powerful genie!
So is that like you
What's your
or
instrument
just
gonna be?
giving a play-by-play of what's going on in your head?
I wish for you to make me into an all-powerful genie!
Much more straightforward.
There it is. I knew that first one wasn't like an official wish.
Consarn it, Pinkie, just do it!
Apple said, seeing the way her friend was tiring in his attempts to dodge the giant reptile's attacks. The genie nodded, and the room flashed with a burst of magic, transforming Sombra from alligator to a menacing genie with eyes that glowed and magic like great plumes of black smoke.
As opposed to what he was before.
Power coursing through me. No pony will ever be able to stop me now.
Shaladdin raced across the room while Sombra
It's
was
a
distracted,
sombrero.
following the black smoke to its source. He skid to a stop in front of a large
It's not
Mexican-looking
an
hat.
instrument.
You get it? Now he's a sombrero. Say that 5 times fast.
That's right, Sombrar.
No.
You do have all the magic, but you can't use it. As a genie, you are bound to follow the whims of a master. Whichever master dares wear this, hat.
What?
For my first and only wish, I wish for you to banish yourself from all pony kind, somewhere far away, where no pony nor creature will ever find you again.
Nice.
Sombra growled in protest, but his magic ignited, and with a resounding boom, he disappeared, taking the strange hat prison with him.
See, now that is how the original story should have ended. Would have saved everyone the headache of a sequel. Sorry, Brago. Guess that means you don't get redeemed.
Wait! Let's talk about this for a sec. I was brainwashed. Like the guards.
Yeah,
Never
yeah,
liked
of
that
course.
guy. Too brooding, too obviously evil. I like the subtle
I like the
things.
sequels, though.
Oh, give me a chance,
I'll be
right,
honest.
Shaladdin?
They were all
What about
cool.
you, cousin? We are kin, after all.
I'm sorry. Do I know you?
Oh, cold.
Shaladdin
No, it's
reared
the
on his
opposite of what
hind
I
legs
said.
and aimed a spell towards Brago, who screamed in protest.
All right, I'm going. I'd rather be a Western pony stereotype than a bird anyway.
Brago said, fleeing from Shaladdin and his friends in a hurry.
Shaladdin!
Jadance cried in relief, running into Shaladdin's open hooves.
A disaster! An absolute catastrophe! To think all these years I trusted him to... Why, Jadance, my dear. Can it be true? Have you finally decided on a suitor?
But, Your Majesty, I lied. I'm not of royal blood.
Father, please. If you want me to be happy, abolish your
I
law
think-
and let us be together.
Shaladdin, my boy.
He'll be
You
fine with
have
that.
proven to be brave of heart and noble of spirit. I could not have asked for some pony better to wed my daughter and bring her a lifetime of happiness. Consider the law abolished.
The two lovers rejoiced and locked their lips in a romantic kiss.
Does he realize that Sultan Sparkle's an alicorn and probably will live forever? And so is the princess, so there's really no need for an heir.
Shh! What is it with you fourth wall breakers and interrupting the love scene?
Shaladdin nuzzled
Yeah,
Jadance,
stop
but
doing
pulled
that.
away with a small grin.
There's just one thing left to do. Genie, I use my third wish, and I wish you free.
Genie let out a mighty cheer and ignited a slew of party cannons in celebration before bouncing off the walls in a
unleashing
flurry
all
of
that
heat,
cosmic
light,
power
and
onto the
magic.
world.
With no limit to her power, she would now be free to spread her crazy energy in parties across the globe.
And we're doomed.
Yep. That's cute.
Good night, Poundin' Pumpkin. I'm so glad I finally get to tell you the real story. Sweet dreams, my little ponies. And I'll see you all next time for some more
Oh, that's creepy. Her eyes are staring into my soul. Alright. So are they going to have that thing? I remember they did what was next. I just have to remember to know which one's it, because the playlist is kind of all over the place. So I can't really go by that. In Rainbow's many roles. Next time, Little Mermaid. Alright, so just to remember that. Yeah, that was good. That was a cute episode. Cute video. Not episode, but version of Aladdin with ponies. Enjoyable, as I said. The link in the description below. Support Magpie Pony and all her and all the great stuff that they put on that she puts on that channel. Now, as for what I had mentioned before, the words explaining her thoughts, Doormat's, Fluttermat's thoughts written across, kind of remind me of this this artist on DeviantArt that I follow, Matt Wilson 83. He makes this long-running Naruto Hinata Naruhina comic that I enjoy. Also makes this smaller one where it's like chibi version of them, and in that the lines in Hinata's hair spell out her kind of thoughts at the time, and that just reminded me. I'll put a link to his page in the description. Go check it out. It's, if you like that sort of stuff. I think I've seen him do some MLP stuff a while back, but mostly he focuses on anime type stuff, mostly Naruto. But yeah. So, I want to thank you all for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed that, and I'm just going to end this one here. Until next time, take care.